watch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Will be above triple digits.
Good swung on the high fly ball. Back into deep right. Kepler to the wall. It's gone. Rays win. Arozarena hits one out. And the Rays win this game 2-1.
What a night in Tropicana Field last night as the Rays walk it off against the Minnesota Twins to move to 45-19, the best record in baseball still. And what a game last night. And that wasn't even the biggest play of the game. That wasn't even the biggest play. How can the walk-off not be the biggest play of the game, JP? Well, because they turned a double play for the ages. And just absolutely indicative of why the Rays are the best team in baseball, because they can mash it, they can catch it, they can throw it, they can do everything with that little beanball. And they are fantastic. They are so fun to watch. And that was another great game last night. Good morning to you. Welcome to another edition of the JP Peterson Show here on this Thursday. We're already up to Thursday?
These weeks, man, they're flying by. It's June 8th already.
June 8th already?
We're halfway home to Christmas time. We're halfway home.
We're 6 weeks away, right? June. No, a little bit more than that. I'm counting down to college football and training camp. Well, training camp is late July.
We're about 8 weeks away from the start of the college football season.
Yeah, about 7 weeks away from
training camp.
Training camp, yeah. How about that? Yeah.
We're getting closer.
We're getting closer. It's so weird that our whole calendar clock revolves around football. We really need to get a life.
No, we don't. No, we don't. The TVs always need to be stayed on to sports. That's the rule.
Yeah.
And we need to always have a countdown clock to the NFL starts.
Yeah, especially the world we live in now. Yeah, just bury your head in the sports like you do, and you'll live a happy life. Absolutely. What a great night last night. There was so much going on last night. I was hosting the Tampa Sports Club Hall of Fame Awards last night. We had an unbelievable night. So many great speeches. We'll touch on some of those. Earl Garcia, I've known Earl for 30 years since I came here, started living here, and did some of my first interviews with him over at Hillsborough High School as the head football coach. He brought the house down. He was hilarious. Jim Macaluso from King High School, who's been there for 48 years coaching baseball for 48 years. Rick Pecco, my colleague with the Lightning, we inducted him. Steve DeBerg told some incredible stories last night as he went into the Tampa Sports Hall of Fame, and also Dexter Jackson, Super Bowl MVP. So it was a great night. We'll have a little segment on that a little bit later coming up. So, and the Nuggets did what I thought the Nuggets would do. Everybody, the Miami Heat. When you shoot 49% from three, you're pretty much going to win every game you play. But they didn't shoot 49% from three last night.
Not even close.
60% of their shots were contested for three. And I love the fact that Mike Malone, you know what he did? And maybe Todd Bowles can take a little nugget from this.
Ooh,
see what I did there?
I did.
Call your players out publicly. Call them out. See what happens. This in this public social media world that we live in, it feels like everybody, everybody wants to put their good, their best foot forward on social media, and project everything is rosy and wonderful. Well, you know what? Sometimes it's not. And when these players get called out publicly and then the media jumps on it, obviously fans jump on it. Oh, you're coached because it's the NBA Finals. You're not giving any effort. They give some effort last night. No, I'm not saying it was just because of the public call-out, but maybe it doesn't hurt. Put them on blast. See what happens instead of covering up for them. Instead of making excuses for your players that aren't playing well. Put them on blast. Not in a malicious way, and you have to have a great relationship with your players to do that, and Todd Bowles does have that. His players love him. So, just a little nugget there. Thought I'd throw that out there. So the Nuggets came back behind Murray and Jokic last night, and they were absolutely fabulous, and they take a 2-1 lead in that series. The hockey is shifting to
Florida tonight.
Tonight.
Hopefully, a much more raucous crowd than the one we saw last night.
Yeah.
In Miami's arena. So we have that tonight. And then last night as well, you didn't get a chance to see it, but I watched the entire thing, Florida State and Oklahoma, in Game 1 of the College World Series for the women's.
Two-hitter for Oklahoma, huh?
Oh, wow.
52 straight wins for the Oklahoma lady softball team.
Yeah, and I'm here to tell you, by the way, I've watched 7 innings of that entire 52-game run, and those 7 innings were yesterday, and I already don't like that team.
Yeah.
I already don't like that team.
Don't like them because they're so good and they're going to beat Florida State?
Have you heard about this thing with the celebrations they do? I didn't know anything about this, and
Oklahoma specifically. I mean,
Oklahoma
softball
specifically
in general is a crazy game for the celebrations, the chants.
Okay, well,
I mean,
the Oklahoma
girls are really emotional.
The Oklahoma team takes it to a whole new level, and I find it very, very nauseating to watch.
Really?
Like, I mean, acting as if they've won like the whole thing after they get a walk, right? A walk. Like, they get a walk, and they're turning around, and they're going, let's go, and then they're pumping it down like this, going to first base, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this team, I don't like this team. And then ESPN's, like, acting like the whole let's go thing, like, that's been going on forever, right? She's like, Holly Rowe was acting as if, like, Oklahoma invented it. And, like, they're really talking it up. It's taking America by storm is the way she said it. And I'm like, really? Because I didn't even know it was a thing until yesterday.
In a good way?
Yeah, in a good way.
I mean, typically.
If you watch tonight's game,
all right,
if you watch tonight's game, you will see it right away what I'm talking about.
Okay. All right. I do need to see it. In context, I need to see it, how they're doing it. I mean, just in general, I don't have a big problem with if you're celebrating with your own team and not putting.
It's every out they get.
Well,
every single out.
Softball's kind of like that, though.
Maybe that's my thing, is I don't watch much softball.
Women's sports in general, they're more into the game and they celebrate more than guys do. They do. Like, I mean,
Wait, JP,
imagine if you were going to apply baseball's unwritten rules of you can't celebrate to softball. Like, that ain't gonna work.
Well, here's what really bothered me though. Let me tell you just real quick before we get to the Rays. There was a play in the game, and the game was already salted away because the FSU just could not hit last night. But this Oklahoma girl, I forget her name, she got a double, and then immediately as she got to second base, she's doing her celebration. She put her hands in the air like this. Well, while she did that, the ball was being thrown in to second base. Well, she put her hands in like this in the air, and the ball, of course, hit her hand then bounced away, and then she took off and went to third. And when I saw that, I'm like, how is that legal?
Isn't that obstruction in some way?
That's what I'm saying. Like, her celebrating gifted her another base because the ball ended up hitting her in the arm when she started doing her thing. That's when I was like, oh, my goodness, I'm tired of this.
Yeah, they could have called something there.
They should have.
Yeah. I'll wait to see it. I'm not gonna blast them for celebrating, even if it is against our Seminoles. Jew Jetson jumps in and says we still have plenty of players living off the Super Bowl. Todd Bowles. Yeah, the problem with that, Jew, is you're not calling out anybody specifically. You know, I'm talking about when Devin White is doing what he's doing and it's called out by Warren Sapp, and everybody can see the tape. And it wasn't just that play, by the way. There were many other plays. And then you, as a coach, go to the podium and defend him. No, that's what I'm talking about. And then never calling out anybody specifically. You can ask him, hey, what happened on that coverage? Oh, well, we mixed it up. We messed it up. But, well, who's to blame? Well, it's a communication thing, blah, blah, blah. Call him out. That's where I'm at with Todd. It just seems to me, and you look at the lack of accountability out there and guys making mistakes in, game 18 in the playoffs, where CD Lamb's running scot-free in the end zone because your basic coverages aren't being done. Like we said, last year, Dallas to Dallas. That team, and the opener was awesome. And by the end of the year, they were terrible. Yeah, of course, they had a few injuries, but they were terrible. The team that played in that opener and that team that played in that playoff game were two completely different teams. What the hell happened, Todd Bowles?
Well, I'll tell you what.
I mean, that's the biggest indictment. And your quarterback saying our game day effort is, what did you call it? Pathetic?
Well, the quarterback said embarrassing.
Embarrassing, yeah. But the quarterback, that's what Tom Brady. Our game day effort is embarrassing.
And by the way, I wrote a story yesterday for On3, and some new quotes came out from Bruce Arians that kind of went under the rug recently. They were on a podcast.
Oh, really?
And he kind of discussed
We gotta get Bruce on.
He kind of discussed a little bit of what went wrong for the offense last year and why this year could be potentially better. And there may or may not be a little bit of a backhanded slab at Mr. Brady in this quote. So stay tuned.
Eventually, you will all come around to my perceptions and feelings on Tom Brady and what went down. Eventually, you will all come around. That's all I'm going to say. When more and more comes out, as long as it's not a Brady-produced media event. If the story of this team and the Brady time here is done by someone other than Tom Brady Productions, I think we'll get a much better feel for what it was like for this last season. The first 2 seasons were great, fantastic, unbelievable, great. We love Brady. Last year was not so much. And do you have those quotes handy, by them?
Well, do you want me to get to it now, or do you want to?
Well, now we're talking about it. Yeah, let's roll right into it. I'm very interested to hear about it. We'll get to the Rays. We've already talked a little, but we'll get to the Rays. I like to hit a lot of different topics here at the beginning for those who can't stick around for the whole show. You know, we bounce around a little bit.
Yeah,
And,
it's very subtle, and I don't know if you're reaching to say this is a backhanded comment towards Brady, but he said a little fire as to what they missed last year in the offense.
Okay.
I think we needed a little bit of more fire on offense. And then he said Baker has been there and done it, and I think a little bit of an edge just because of his leadership and having been in the huddle with pro guys a lot. But the guys really respect Kyle also, but I love Baker. I just think he brings a charisma and a fire to your offense. So reading through that quote, it sounds, you could almost interpret it as a little bit of a backhand that he says we lacked fire. Mm-hmm. And isn't Brady known as having more fire than anybody?
Yeah.
You know, in the league.
Well, and we said that last year as the season was going on. When Brady used to yell at the offensive line, right, or get on somebody, we would celebrate that, right? We would celebrate it. And this is a great lesson of leadership, really, in any walk of life. You can't be a leader if you're not all in. You can't be a leader if you're not all in. If your team perceives that you have other interests or other things going on that are taking priority over what you're doing here with your team, if they don't see the same level of preparation and dedication from you that they've seen in years past, and in that case, Brady is his own worst enemy because he sets the bar so high, even if he's still preparing tremendously well. People see that it's not what you did in years past. You didn't take 11 days off in training camp the year before. You didn't go to Bob Kraft's wedding and stay overnight. Maybe there were other things behind the scenes that we don't know about, and guarantee you they were, where he wasn't as dialed in. I mean, we could tell it in the press conferences. We could tell it in his body language when he showed up at training camp. We could tell it in his body appearance when he showed up at training camp 15 pounds lighter. And obviously he was going through a hell of a lot of stuff off the field. And I don't mean to, say he was a bad dude and he was quitting on his team. I'm just saying he was going through some shit, like he said. He was going through it. Yeah. And it just wasn't the same Brady. And again, we have compassion for him. But we're talking about on the field, what we saw was not the Tom Brady of old. And that's why this offense is going to be much better. You don't go from 30 points a game to 18 points a game and it not be somewhat the quarterback's fault. That's what kills me about that last year is that everybody's like, oh, it's all on Byron Leftwich. Oh, the offensive line was terrible. Brady had to get rid of the. He deserves a lot of the blame as well. And yeah, I think, and that's why I'm saying, and Bruce Arians is saying, this team lacked the fire, and now they're going to get a quarterback in Baker Mayfield who brings that fire, who brings that moxie, who brings those intangibles that Arians is talking about that we've heard from other people. And I think, the more you hear players talk about, and I think they kind of, you're going to hear the receivers kind of shy away from picking out specific quarterbacks to talk about because I think they know that it's a very public competition that's going on. They're not going to want to, praise Baker Mayfield and not praise Kyle Trask, publicly. They want to keep it all even. I get that. But you can already sense a groundswell from players, Arians, and other, even Ty Bowles talking about, the moxie of the quarterback that he wants, the same word he used about Baker when they signed him, and talking about the players buying in. The same, it's very similar. What Arians said was very similar to what Ty Bowles said the other day about what he wants in his starting quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, this is why I'm excited to see what this offense can do. And again, we're not expecting 30 points a game, but we'll take 24 to 25 because this defense is good enough. If you can get them 25 points, this defense should be good enough to win a lot of these games, especially against all these inexperienced quarterbacks that they're going to face. Talented, yes, very talented young quarterbacks, but inexperienced, including the Carolina Leprechaun.
You're never going to quit it, are you?
Nah. He plays for the Panthers now. We'll have some fun with it. Yeah. I mean, Bryce is kind of an Irish name, isn't it?
Sure, I guess. I don't.
I'm just excited to see what this team can do and what kind of culture they can create. And again, my biggest question mark is the head coach and the coaching staff. That's my biggest question mark about this team. They've got a roster to win this division, no question. A Super Bowl roster, probably not. But they have a roster to win this division. And if they can go out and win, 9, 10, 11 games, that's going to be a hell of a season. It's going to be a fun season to watch. So, hello, national media. Bucs are not tanking. All right, let's get back to the Rays and play some of the highlights here. We talked about the walk-off for Randy last night. But the Paredes, we'll just play it. I know I said we weren't going to, but we'll go ahead and play it. The Paredes, Taylor Walls double play. First of all, Jason Adams just makes an absolute carnival of the ninth inning. And that is, a cautionary tale, as we've talked a lot about this team's bullpen, even though they shut out the Twins for most of the game, and it was, mostly bullpen guys, you still got to have somebody to lock it down. And right now, Jason Adams is a coin flip at best. I'm trying to get to the actual play-by-play. He gets a quick out, then hits a batter, allows a stolen base, walked another, allowed the lead runner to steal third, then gave up a run-scoring single, hit another batter to load the bases. So at this point, the bases are loaded. And Ryan Jeffers smokes one at 102 miles an hour off the bat down to third base line. And Itzhak Paredes, from his butt, dives, gets the ball, and then they turn two. And what was maybe the fastest turn I've ever seen at second base by Taylor Walls.
Number 9 man Jeffers stands in the pitch. Grounded to third. Backhanded by Paredes from a knee. Goes to second. One. Throw to first. They turned it. A double play. As line to line as you could get. Paredes along the foul line. Throwing to second. Walls with a relay and a stretch at first by Ray.
That is is that not the damnedest double play you've ever seen? Especially a pressure moment like that.
Yeah. I mean, off the bat, you're thinking, okay, hopefully he stops it and it's only one run. Hopefully he knocks it down. Oh, wow, he caught it. Oh, don't go to second. When you're not going to get a double. Oh, my God. I mean, I've literally never seen a better turn, a better pivot than what Taylor Walls did.
What do we say? I'm not going to dump on Brandon Lau now. But again,
go ahead.
He's not making that play.
He ain't making that play.
I'm just here to tell you, he's not making that play.
Nope.
And even yesterday, Taylor Walls did a radio interview after the game, and the way he described it, he just goes so in depth of what he's thinking in that moment. You can tell that it's next level thinking from Taylor Walls when he fields that ball at second base and being able to turn it and the way the gears are turning in his head. And this is all very quick. By the time that ball reaches Paredes in less than a second, because it was blistered off the bat, and to Walls, it's 2 seconds have gone by, and he's already mapped out the way he's going into second, the way he's going to twist his body and things like that to make this throw. He is so elite at the position, no matter where you put him on the field. He's so invaluable to this team because of that play, and without that, the Randy home run doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter at all.
No.
Because probably 2 runs are going to score, and that 2 more runs are going to score in that inning.
Mm-hmm. even Carlos Correa said this, the Twin shortstop, all-star. That's how you have the best record in baseball, he said. You make plays and you take care of the ball. That's what they do very well. Obviously, they've been getting a lot of offense too this year, but they play defense as good as anyone, and they pitch as good as anyone. That's from Carlos Correa. I mean, and we talked about this yesterday. The athleticism of this team is off the charts. Off the charts. To lead the league in home runs and stolen bases and defense, that's unheard of. That's unheard of in baseball, because when you lead the baseball in home runs, what typically do you have? Big guys with power who can't run or play defense very well. And I know the modern game, it's different, obviously, with the Aaron Judges of the world who can, at 6'7", can jump up and steal home runs and run. I get that, but still, to have an entire team that top to bottom, you have 7 guys that have more, 7 or more, 8 or more home runs. I mean, it's ridiculous how good this team is, top to bottom, athletically, and the defense. And we're so lucky that we get to see it every night. And I know all the metrics try to factor in defense, but you can't. I'm sorry, you can't give me an analytic number that represents what I see, and you just can't, because every night it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 runs a night that they're saving with different plays. And I know the analytics try to do that, but it's all subjective when you really come down to think about it in terms of defensive plays. If they say, there's a 39% chance of them catching this ball. I mean, what does that mean? It in terms of the velocity that it was hit and the launch angle that it was hit, but every how do you measure how a guy gets a jump on a ball? How do you measure how the Rays are positioning these players?
Well, I'll just tell you about
all that stuff.
I could just tell you, speak to the middle infield, defensive run saves, which is a pretty good thing to go off of. Wander Franco is number 1, and all of him will be shortstops in defensive run saves. He's going to win the Gold Glove this year, as he should. Taylor Walls,
how about that?
Number 2 in all of baseball in defensive run saves, and that's been playing, third, short, second, all over the place.
I didn't need to look at that list.
Yeah, you didn't even really need to know it. And Taylor Walls, by the way, is high on that list, and he's played less innings than most of the guys that are around him on here as well.
Imagine if he had all the Below innings.
Exactly.
We might have the best record in baseball.
For my money, when they have Walls playing at second or third, whatever they want to do, and Wander playing at short, you won't find 2 guys next to each other in infield in baseball better than those 2 guys from a defensive standpoint. You just won't. They've gobbled up everything. Oh, and by the way, when you have the guy in center who makes every play, he makes tough plays look very routine, night in and night out.
You mean he's not diving for balls he doesn't need to dive for?
Yeah, like Mr. Kiermaier yesterday. I saw it. You saw it?
I did see it.
Yeah. Everybody's like, oh, what a fantastic play by Kevin Kiermaier. And it's like, I think you could have just stuck the glove there, Had to do the slide.
Of course.
Had to slide in,
Yeah, absolutely. Makes it so much cooler, bro. You gotta style points count.
So cool.
Yeah, so the Rays also, they have, this is no shock, I think they've turned the numbers over 70% of the ground balls into outs. And I think the Reds are the worst, and they're like it's 60%. But in that, I think that equals at this point of the season into like 60 or 70 outs. I mean, it's huge. I mean, it's so. I mean, it's hard to explain when that ending in and of itself right there. That play, like you said, it probably definitely saves at least 1 run. Probably saves 2. Most likely saves 3 runs. Because of how bad Jason Adam was at that point. And it wins games. And you see it, the other night, Vidal Brujan, who they just called up, makes 2 plays that probably saved the game. So it's just night in and night out. You can get Arozarena, last week, the diving catch in the corner.
Luke Raley, the week prior, stole a couple from Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
it's everywhere.
Every game, and it's not just the pitching, it's the defense, it's everything. This is such a special team to watch.
And this was another example of this season is feeling so special right now. Yeah. I mean, Randy comes up to bat, too, there against Duran, who, if you haven't been paying attention to Joan Duran, he's one of the best relievers in baseball. Every night in and night out, I see Pitching Ninja, which is a great account on Twitter, by the way.
Yeah.
They post all these pitches, and he's on there every single outing. And he's touching routinely now, like 105. with his fastball. With this crazy run, it's in the zone. It's not wild or anything. He's throwing them for strikes. Guys can't touch it. And then he's also throwing 98 to 99 mile per hour splitters.
Yeah.
Which he gave 2 to Randy yesterday. And again, that pitch, it's 98 and it's low and away.
Yeah.
And this is the maturation of Randy Arozarena as a batter.
Yeah.
And I think he's gotten away from that maybe the last week or so. The average has dipped a little bit. He hasn't been as effective. The swing's been getting longer, but last night he seemed like he was locked in. And I know he's locked in when he's taking that pitch the other way like that and getting the barrel on it. Yeah. I mean, that is a very tough pitch to hit out.
It's ridiculously tough.
Especially off of that guy.
In fact, Duran right when he hit it, points up like it's a pop-up. And he's like, and I'm like,
You don't know the Randy I know.
That's right. And Randy knew it was gone, too.
Oh, he
pimped it at the plate.
He pimped it at the plate, and then he stopped for a second, and he's like, okay, let's go.
And then he, instead of doing the folded arms pose at third base, he did it at home facing his teammates, which I think may be a little tweak to his celebration.
A little tweak.
Maybe was mentioned to him by people in the organization.
Yeah, I have no problem.
I like it.
I have no big problem with Oklahoma, but no problem with Randy. You know how it works.
Yeah, of course, of course.
And the other thing, too, the pitching, you mentioned, for all their faults, again, they're on a 5-game winning streak, this is their third 5-game-plus winning streak of the season, by the way, already. And through this one, they've only given up 6 runs. 6 runs in 5 games. That's it. That's all they've given up. So, again, they win, and it seems like every win they get, it's different from the night before. They stifle offenses. The bullpen has finally caught up, I think, and is fully healthy, in my opinion.
Well, not Fairbanks.
Well, not Fairbanks, but the guys that are there, they seem to be healthy and rested and ready to go because of the performance here in this last 5 games.
Yeah, they're ready. They're absolutely they're locked in, man. And
they're starting to gain ground, by the way. They're starting to separate themselves in the AL. I think I looked last night. I'm going to verify it this morning.
Yeah, I think
6.5 lead game on Baltimore, who is scuffling. And the Yankees are now 8 back, and Aaron Judge is on the IL.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the Yankees are 6-7 without Aaron Judge this season, and 30-19 with him. So there's a pretty big disparity there with Judge and without Judge. So Rays have a chance to continue to take advantage of the division right now.
Yeah, it's you can't take your foot off the gas, even though you're on pace to win 120 games. Keep going. Let's listen to Kevin Cash real quick before Scott Reynolds is on deck, and he has been out at OTAs this week, so very interested to talk to him about what's going on out there at One Buck Place. But let's kind of wrap up the Rays here with Kevin Cash's post-game from last night.
Okay, let's start with the big moment. Randy Arozarena on the second pitch hits it out of the park. Just an example of how he does love that big moment.
He's got a knack for him. He's a really good player and seems to elevate his game when, probably we need it most. He's the right guy up there. Man, that guy, Duran, is really talented, big arm, but Randy's got a quick bat and knocked it out of the ballpark.
And then that double play to end that threat there. How key was that? Isak Paredes backhanding it, Taylor Walls.
Yeah, I mean, that home run doesn't matter without that double play because they're going to pick up 2, maybe 3. Paredes, great pickup by him, and Walsey, I don't know if there's another guy that can do what he, we did on that turn to be falling one way and get enough on the throw. So, tremendous play on all fronts.
And the bullpen not surrendering a run until the 9th inning against, like we talked about yesterday, a veteran group of hitters. Pretty impressive today.
Yeah, really good. I mean, Armstrong, another really solid outing for him. Cooper Criswell did a tremendous job of mixing and keeping them off balance and not timed up. And then felt like, Stevenson comes in. Kevin Kelly got some big outs. Poche looked as sharp as he could, maybe as sharp as he's looked in quite some time. And with J.A., I mean, still, the right guy on the mound, they just had some good at-bats there at the end, but very impressed with the bullpen.
Is there a part, which part of that double play is the hardest part, do you think? Was it Walls' turn, probably?
I don't know how you rank them. They're both, I got an echo going. They're both, takes a lot of athleticism. I mean, Isak was on the ground, too, when he threw. Walsey, the guy at first is going to be on top of you, getting there quick, and he turned it, pretty fearlessly.
And Luke had a pretty good stretch, it seemed like, on the back end, too.
Yeah.
For a guy who doesn't play a ton of first base.
Right.
So
I was hoping it wouldn't hit to him.
Yeah. When J.A.'s off, is it just a matter of where
Yeah, I mean,
where it aims and where it ends up.
A little bit. I mean,
guys.
you know, he nicked the Solano to get it started, and then he throws a breaking ball that hit Castro, I believe, to load the bases after the hit. But you know, Lewis went down and got it looked like a pretty well executed changeup below the zone or right at the bottom of the zone. So, give him credit.
Is there any conversation with Randy that you heard before? Did he call it, or you call it?
No, I didn't know off the bat for sure, but I looked at him. He certainly knew, so I just trusted him.
Kevin, Isak and Walls, they've been great for you all season defensively, right?
Yeah.
Just everywhere you've asked them to play, they've kind of delivered.
Yeah, I mean, they've both done, put on defensive clinics at third base together all season long. Now with Bilal out, we're going to get to see Walsey probably play a little bit more second base. But they're very sure-handed. Their first step is tremendous. Their arm accuracy, strength, they're really good players.
Yeah, we're a way better team. And the best team in baseball just got better. All right, quick break. When we come back, Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report's going to join us. He's been out at OTAs watching Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask throw errantly, according to the national media. Can't wait to get into this. This is going to be fun. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group and Bay Area Modern Medical Center in our first hour, BAMMC.com. Please visit their websites, and we'll be back at 3 with Scott Reynolds, Pewter Report. Stay with us. Guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com. Tell them JP sent you. Get it. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance Free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244. Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa, and for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio, visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. If you've been involved in an accident, call them immediately to get the best representation, local representation, guys that have been around here and work with the local insurance companies, all the people in the justice system here. That's important. And, of course, they get the best outcomes as well. So, JeevesLawGroup.com, JEEVESLawgroup.com. All right, let's welcome in our good friend, Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report, who's been hanging out at the Bucs OTAs. It's hot out there, so he told me this morning he has showered. So
I did shower, yeah.
Even though it's not smell-o-vision, you look fabulous.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I don't have a hat on today. I feel like I should wear a hat.
You got good volume. Well, you know.
A little bit, yeah.
It was a hat.
Going gray in the front. I've got like a little rogue thing going on, like from X-Men. Wearing my X-Men shirt today.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Chicks dig the little salt.
You know what? My wife Ashley has been waiting for me to go gray. It's like whether it was like Sean Connery, Harrison Ford, like she digs like older guys, gray hair and all that. And I'm like 9 years older than her, and I don't dye my hair at all, and I never will. Nice. And I'm 51. It's taken me forever to get this gray.
Yeah.
And you would think with 4 kids and a wife, I would be grayer earlier, but that hasn't happened yet.
I have
trying really hard.
I have the gray in the beard, the salt in the beard. But my hair still is what's left of it. It's still got the dirty blonde thing working. Whatever. Nobody wants to hear about our hair. What they want to hear about is this quarterback competition, because I saw a clip that showed Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield missing tight ends, and Harry Douglas went on ESPN, who I love Harry, by the way. And it's like, they suck. Baker sucks. Trask sucks. They're going to suck.
Yeah.
I said, I texted, yeah, that's the Falcon in you there, buddy.
Yeah. I only wish I would have saved some of the clips of Tom Brady missing receivers in individual periods. I wish I would have saved some of those.
Happened?
It did happen. I was witness to it. Yes. Yeah. Matter of fact, he missed some receivers. So did Jameis. So did Josh McCown and Mike Lennon and Josh Freeman. Wow. We could go on and on and on. It happens. I have yet to see a quarterback be 100% in practice. It just doesn't happen. So, yes, damn Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask to hell for missing receivers, especially Baker Mayfield, because he comes in with, this is his 6th year in the league. He should be able to make those, just like all NBA players should be able to make free throws. I mean, how many free throws have they shot in their life, right? I mean, it's a free throw. It's free. Just you shoot it and it automatically goes in, right? That's just how it works. Listen, Baker Mayfield has, if I'm counting correctly now, I think we're like we're 12 OTAs in. Then you've got the 3 mandatory minicamps. So for 12 practices, he has thrown to completely new receivers, tight ends, and running backs. There has not been one tight end, receiver, or running back he has ever thrown to out of any of the guys on the Bucs roster before those 12 practices.
Right.
There's a thing called timing that has to be worked out and established.
Right.
Because Mike Evans runs at a different speed than Chris Godwin does. And Mike Evans at 6'5" has a different catch radius than 5'8", maybe 5'7", Devin Tompkins does.
Right.
So that's what practice is for. It's to iron out these things, not to draw conclusions about who's going to be the quarterback in Tampa Bay. I'll tell you who's going to be the quarterback in Tampa Bay. Either Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, whichever one doesn't turn the ball over as much as the other one does, that's the guy that's going to win the job. And they're going to look at what they do in the preseason games because those are the ones that matter more than the practices. And the training camp practices in full pads and live 11-on-11 drills matter more than the underwear practices we're seeing now with guys in helmets, T-shirts, and shorts.
And what's kind of your take on how they're kind of operating this whole quarterback competition? Because I know there's a lot of people who say, why don't you name a starter now?
Right.
And let's give that guy the full reps, the chance to get up to speed with everybody and get the timing and such things as you just talked about right there down. Or the way they're doing it, and I even brought up this with Dave Canales, consider where he came last year, where they brought in Drew Lock, and I think we all assumed, he's going to be the starter.
Yeah.
But they didn't give him the job.
Right.
They let the entire process go on, and they found out that, hey, Geno Smith's kind of better than him. So what's your kind of take on how they're handling it?
Two sides of my brain are working on this. One side says Baker Mayfield probably deserves to start. He has the experience. And I think at the end of the day, guys, I think it's going to be Baker. Why? Because Dave Canales, he's got one shot at this. He really does. If the Buccaneers don't win 9 games or more, there's a legitimate chance that Todd Bowles could be fired. Okay. I don't think it's going to happen. But like, if the Bucs win 4 or 5 games, I'm thinking the Blazers hit the reset button, right? They give every coach that they've hired 2 years. And say what you want about the little banner hanging in the practice facility. They were 8-9 last year. And they were 8-10 if you factor in that playoff loss where they got thumped at home. Okay. Having said that, Dave Canales this is going to be his only shot as an offensive coordinator. If his offense bombs in this year and leads to Todd Bowles getting fired, he's back to being a quarterback's coach. That's just it. I mean, look at Byron Leftwich. Doesn't even have a job. Yeah. He has a Super Bowl ring. Yeah. He coached Tom Brady for 3 years. So life comes at you fast in the NFL. So having said that, Baker Mayfield should get the job based on that, right? Because these guys want to keep working for the Buccaneers, and he has the most experience, probably the safer bet to at least start the season. Yeah. However, you look at the process and what happened with Seattle, and you're right, Nick. Drew Lock was the new guy in town, higher, I would say higher and more recent draft status than Geno Smith, who was a second rounder in his own right, but had bounced around. He was really the journeyman that Baker Mayfield is now. So they let the process play out. Drew Lock turned the ball over more in the preseason. They gave the job to Geno Smith, who completed around 82% of his passes in the preseason when you factor in some of the drop passes. It proved to be the right call. They went all the way to week 3 of the preseason, the final preseason game in Dallas. And Seattle, which was picked to not go to the playoffs, went to the playoffs with Geno Smith, who made his first Pro Bowl at age 32 and was the NFL Comeback Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. So you look at the recent evidence, that process worked out. And there is something to what Dave Canales said. When you've got 2 guys that are wired to be the starter all the way through the summer, you're getting the best competition every day. It's not like Baker's the starter in the first day of training camp, and then all of a sudden Kyle Trask is resigned to that backup mentality, and he doesn't play or practice as hard, and Baker isn't pushed as much, right? So I see the merits to it. At the same time, in an ideal world, there is that argument to be made that preparing the starter, and in this case, let's say it's Baker Mayfield, getting him more reps in training camp rather than splitting it 45-45, because you're going to give 10 to John Wolford. That makes more sense too, because more reps, more throws to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, better timing, etc. for week 1. But I don't know, man. I kind of like the true quarterback competition. What if Kyle Trask is better? What if Baker Mayfield looks good in training camp and then the lights come on and he throws a combined 3 or 4 interceptions in 3 games? And Kyle doesn't throw any. Maybe he only throws 2 touchdowns, but wasn't throwing pick 6 and turning the ball over. So I'm okay with the process. I am.
Yeah, and I think there also the process, sends a bigger picture to your team as a culture setting device. It's like if let's just say that Trask were to outplay Baker Mayfield in practice, and then the job is given to Baker Mayfield,
right?
That everybody in the locker room is like, what the hell just happened?
That's right. Yeah,
and they lose confidence in their coaching staff.
Yes.
They what am I working hard out here in practice for? If the best guy's not going to win,
That's
what
right.
else is going on here? So I think more than anything, people are watching. Your players are watching how this whole thing develops, and they want a meritocracy.
That's right.
And I think it sends a bad message when you pick a guy and say, okay, just because he's got more experience, he's my guy.
That's very fair point. The other thing I'll add is something Dave Canales has actually said, and I agree with. This team is not waiting around to see who the starting quarterback is. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You got Ryan Jensen and Tristan Wirfs up front. You got Rashad White, who's a promising young back. You got a defense that has, let's count the Pro Bowlers: Levante David, Devin White, Antoine Winfield, Vita Vea, Shaq Barrett, and then a couple of cornerbacks that are making over $13-14 million a year. There's talent on this team. There's leaders on this team. They're not waiting around to say who's going to lead us. No, there's plenty of leaders. And in this offense, the quarterback's going to be de-emphasized.
Right.
This is not we're going to lead the league in passing Bruce Arians type thing. And trust me, Tom Brady at age 45 did not want to lead the league and set an NFL record for 490 completions in 733 attempts.
Yeah.
But that's what happened. This is going to be a more balanced attack. The quarterback for the Buccaneers, whether it's Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, is going to be more of a point guard than a shooting guard.
Mm-hmm.
Distribute the ball. It's going to be more Brad Johnson than Tom Brady.
Right.
And that's okay. And honestly, I've given some love to Baker Mayfield. When Jason Light drafted Kyle Trask, he kind of saw a little bit of Brad Johnson in Kyle Trask. Bigger pocket passer, strong arm, not a real big rah-rah guy, kind of lead by example. Brady was LFG, and yelling and screaming. Brad Johnson was more stoic. He was the bull. He just stood there and, Keyshawn Johnson, Keenan McCardell, Joe Jurevicius, Pittman out of the backfield, Allstott, Ken Dilger.
Yeah.
He was the trigger man that just made the offense win a Super Bowl.
Scott Reynolds joining us here, Pewter Report. You were out there and you watched these rookies play. Give me a little feeling on what you're seeing from some of these rookies.
I'd say that the guys that have stood out to me from the rookies on offense, Trey Palmer. Trey Palmer looks legit. And the funny thing is this is not a Scotty Miller, go deep at that 4.33 speed, where he's really buttering his bread is in the end zone and in the red zone. He has emerged, in the open practices, the 3 we've seen, he's caught more touchdown passes than any other receiver. He just gets open. He's got kind of a sudden quickness that Scotty Miller didn't have. With Miller, it wasn't more about quickness. It was straight line speed. And Scotty Miller would beat you at the 15 to 20 yard mark down the field vertically. Trey Palmer's more instant acceleration. He's a bigger version of Devin Tompkins, who's like a little mighty might. Yeah. But Trey Palmer is very good. The other rookie, too, on offense is Cade Warner, this undrafted free agent. And I don't know that I'd be saying this if he went to KU, but he went to K-State. And if he went to any other school, I'd be singing his praises because he just gets open and catches the ball. I mean, that's at the end of the day, if you're a receiver, that's what you should do. Get open and catch the ball. And he does that. Very, very smart, crafty guy. Reminds me of a little bit bigger, a little bit better version of Adam Humphries. I think he's got a chance to stick as wide receiver 6. He's not going to be the splashy, flashy kind of guy. He's going to be that workman-like, 3rd and 6. He'll get you 7 yards, move the chains. Very valuable guy. Carl the Truth Williams, back in the day, JP.
Yeah.
That type of guy, Adam Humphries, they have a place on a roster. And I wouldn't be surprised if he makes it. On the defensive side, I would say the 2 guys that have really stood out to me so far, and remember, we're not in pads. So this is no knock on Cody Mauch, right? No knock on Kalijah Cansey. Mm-hmm. But you're not going to be able to really judge them until
Right.
it gets nitty gritty with the pads on in the trenches, right? So the guys I'm going to mention on defense that have stood out, Servassier Dennis. This guy looks like a legit NFL starting caliber linebacker, and he will replace Levante David or Devin White, whoever leaves the Bucs first.
Yeah.
He's good, man. He is smart, cerebral. He's not the athlete that Devin White is in terms of the sideline speed. That's more like Jeremy Banks, the undrafted free agent out of Tennessee. That linebacker, he's going to make the team too. I think Servassier is more on a faster track to see action.
Yeah.
Yaya Diaby is the other one, man. Whew, this guy right here. Again, there's not much that you can judge in terms of he's an outside linebacker, but he plays essentially defensive end. He's on the line of scrimmage. It's hard with the trench play. It's not fair to the tackles because they can't really block, right? It's no contact.
But you see the athleticism. Yeah.
You see the athleticism, easy for me to say. And sorry, I'm getting a little giddy talking about Yaya Diaby. I am. Yeah. And it's not, you can't even say it has to be like Yaya Diaby. Like it has to be like a cool, badass sounding name. So the thing I like about Diaby is the little bag drills. Okay. It's like, and you've seen it where they hit the pop-up dummies, right? When he hits the bag, I don't care if it's front and center for the media or if there's stations at the opposite end of the end zone. First of all, you hear it. Second of all, the bag goes all the way to the ground, touches the grass, and then pops up. That's rare.
Yeah.
Like to hit the bag with enough force, because you're like pop, 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 pop as you're going through the bags and working your way through. When he hits the bags, and I've got some video of this on I did a Facebook reel. So if you want to check out the Peter Report Facebook, you will see it. It's rare that happens. Okay. This guy, there's no finesse in his game. It is all power and all speed. And so while JTS is more that finesse pass rusher, think more like Simeon Rice, but not as good, not yet.
Yeah.
This guy is more just like ass kicking, absolute power. And he really has the speed to power. Those are the two guys on defense. I think Chris Isian, the Rutgers guy, I would not be surprised if he even beats out Josh Hayes from Kansas State for the nickel job.
Oh, wow.
He's looked really good. Kayvon Merriweather's another guy. He's going to stick, the Iowa safety. He's not going to start, but he'll stick, and I think he's an eventual player for this team.
Nice.
And so in mandatory OTAs coming up, you had mentioned Devin White there. We got a little bit of Todd Bowles. He kind of gave the answer, but didn't directly mention Devin White. But how did you kind of interpret that exchange? And if he doesn't show for mandatory OTAs, do you think there'll be a shift in the way the organization kind of plays out this whole thing?
Well, in talking to some people in the organization about this, it's just like any coach. Whenever you have a holdout or somebody who's injured, it's like, we're going to talk about the guys that are here. We're going to coach the guys that are on the field. If you're here, we'll coach you. If not, then, you're not being coached. The Buck ship is not going to leave port without two linebackers, right? It's going to set sail with either Levante David and Devin White or Levante David and Servassier Dennis. It's that simple. If Devin wants to play, he'll show up, and then he'll start, and hopefully he'll have a good year for his sake and maybe for the team's sake if there's some mutual interest in wanting to stick together. If Devin ultimately wants to leave, then great. Give us your best, make your money, and then go elsewhere, and we've already got your replacement on deck. Or maybe if you play really, really well and we want you to stay and all is forgiven and you want to stay, then we'll do it. But again, the ball's in his court, and that's fine. But the thing is he can't leave the court. He can't pick up the ball and go home, because if he does that, then he's still in this same boat, because he's not going to accrue a year towards free agency. In other words, if he wants to hold out the entire year, then instead of it being, hitting free agency at age 26, he'll be hitting free agency at age 27. And he will have to play next year in Tampa Bay under the exact same fifth-year option amount, which is $11.706 million. And he'll have gained nothing. If anything, he probably would have lost a starting job, because they'll be starting Servassier Dennis in his place. So either way, it's going to work out for the Buccaneers. I feel like they have their replacement on deck now. And listen, I know I'm talking this kid up, but I'd be shocked if he comes out and just craps the bed in training camp or the preseason. He just feels like a gamer, right? He's got kind of like that cerebral mentality that a Levante David has, that a Hardy Nickerson had, that a Derek Brooks had. Just kind of gets it, understands the big picture.
Pro. He's
a pro's pro, exactly.
Yeah, early on. We had a question about do you think the Bucs will sign Dalvin Cook?
No.
They
No.
don't have the
They don't have any money.
They don't have the
Don't
money.
have any money.
We'd love to have him.
Yeah.
We had our chance the first
That's
time.
right. That's right. They chose O.J. Howard instead. Yeah. Worked out really well. Now, it's, they're going to ride with who they have this year. This is the get well year from the salary cap standpoint. And there'll still be some residual dead cap money next year. It's just not going to be $75 million worth of cap money, because $35 million of that Tom Brady's money will be off the books by then, thankfully. So they'll have a little bit more room to breathe. So there'll be less dead cap money. Plus, you're going to see the cap increase. So the Buccaneers won't be back to normal, like where we can buy whoever we want, but they will be able to not just shop the clearance aisle anymore. Right. They'll be able to buy things in the store.
Yeah, and I think they obviously believe in Rachaad White. We believe in Rachaad White, and I know you do. And y'all had him on your podcast. What was it, last week?
Yeah.
I believe on an
Last
episode.
Thursday. Yeah.
What was your takeaway of speaking with Rachaad, who I know you're always impressed by, just the way he carries himself? But what did he have to say about the new offense and just how'd that go?
Yeah, he loves the new offense. He really does. And I'll tell you what. I don't like offense because I'm a defensive-minded guy. To me, offense is like a means to an end. Like, yeah, you got to score points to win. I get it. But I tell you, man, I've not been as impressed with an offensive showing as I was watching last Tuesday's OTA. The creativity that Dave Canales had on a couple of plays, and I really can't get into great detail because of the practice rules about watching practice and all that stuff. But just the formations, the shifts, the motion, these are things that I had not seen on a Buccaneers practice field before. And it wasn't like offense, wrinkle, offense. It was like wrinkle, offense, wrinkle. It was just like winning plays, catching the defense off guard, catching the defense confused. And it was refreshing. It was really refreshing to see. It's almost kind of like, remember when you're watching Avengers Endgame, right? Mm-hmm. And they're getting their butts kicked by Thanos at the end, and all of a sudden Captain America, gets Mjolnir, the Thor's hammer, and starts going to town on Thanos, and you're like, what the hell is happening? Like, what am I witnessing right here, right? Then all of a sudden the portals open up, and like all of the dead superheroes come back, and it's on. It's kind of like what this new offense is like. It's impressive. And if they get the right trigger man and it functions and they don't turn the ball over, this offense is really, really, really going to surprise people. Now, I like the scheme. I like the design. I like everything. There is an art to play calling, and that's the one thing we don't know about Dave Canales yet. And there's going to be some on-the-job learning and some on-the-job mistakes made. And some games are going to be pretty and some are going to be ugly. And you have to kind of know there's going to be growing pains going in, but there's something about this guy that he makes you believe. And if he makes other people believe, he has to have his own inner sense of belief, self-belief. And I just think that at some point in time, Kyle Shanahan had to start calling plays.
Right.
And Zach Taylor had to start calling plays, right? And all of these Mike McDaniel had to start calling plays. It starts somewhere. And I'm not saying Dave Canales is going to necessarily be those guys, but I'm not saying he's not either.
Right.
If he can have some maestro performances and call the right plays and the right sequences, because that's important, this offense is going to be better this year than it was last year when they had Tom Brady at quarterback.
And I know, and people can't believe that, especially the national media. Oh, you subtract Tom Brady, well, they're going to suck your work.
And here's the thing.
Works.
I'm not saying this team is going to win any more than 9 games. I feel like 9 is a good number for them.
9, 10, 11. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. And I'm not saying they're going to win the division and make the playoffs. But the Bucs are not going to be as bad as people think they're going to be. And I'm telling you right now, you talk to these players on or off the record, and you mentioned the doubters and the NFL power rankings and the Bucs going to draft Caleb Williams next year and stuff, and they just smile.
They love it.
They just have this smile like, come on.
They still got to play the games.
Keep doubting. That chip's going to be even bigger.
Now, I don't know if you want to answer this now, but we did this exercise last week. It's kind of fun.
Okay.
I know you have the Pewter Report crystal ball underneath the table.
Sure,
I
do. Yeah.
Dust it off. I don't know if you want to do it now.
It's almost like a magic 8-ball. So go ahead.
And I would love to have you write a column on this as well.
All right.
So we did this thing. What did we call it? Our Super Bowl. You do your game plans for the season. This is like a Super Bowl game plan.
Okay.
So like, what bones of this team are here right now that you believe will lead us to the next Super Bowl? Like, what players will develop into those guys? Like, I always think you need between 9, 10, and 11 Pro Bowlers on the team to win a Super Bowl. Those guys
agree.
Are different. So you got to have that number. If you go back and look at the Bucs teams that have won it, that's about what they are. It's a sweet spot.
Yeah.
So do we have the coach? Do we have the quarterback? Do we have the outside rusher? Do we have the leaders on deep? Like, which part of this team? Like, obviously, Levante David's not going to be part of the next Super Bowl champion team. Is that White? So I kind of it's like, how do we move? If you had a crystal ball, which players are going to be here? Do we have those guys yet to do that? So you can take that now, or you can take it for next week and cook it up.
I'll take it for next week. But my initial impression is this: the Bucs will rise or fall depending on how the last 2 draft classes perform. And I say that because I really like the Bucs' last 2 draft classes. I really do. But there's still some big ifs, right? Like Logan Hall is a big if. Luke Gedeke is a big if. If those guys can hit, because I'll tell you what, my experience with the Super Bowl, and you go back and look at the 2002 Buccaneers, not much different than the 2001 Buccaneers, right? Other than John Gruden and a couple of different pieces on offense. And certainly not much different than the 1999 Buccaneers defensively, right?
Right.
But it wasn't, the Buccaneers lost to the Rams in 99. They also got lost to the Eagles in 2000, 2001 in the first round with those, those losses to the Eagles had Mike Allstott, Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Rondé Barber, Brian Kelly, Simeon Rice. Okay. They had all of those, Brad Johnson. They had all of those players the year before. And they had all of the A players. So I'm with you. You have to have your superstars, and the superstars got to show up. But to me, where the Bucs made the Super Bowl and won it in 2002, and it wasn't just John Gruden. I think he was a spark, but it was taking C players and replacing them with B players. In other words, the Greg Spires, the Dwight Smiths, those players, the Kerry Jenkins at left guard, the Roman Oben, right? Those players that replaced C-level talent with B-level talent, that's what got the Buccaneers over the hump. Because the Buccaneers were good enough all those years with all their A players to get into the Super Bowl. But other teams, notably the Eagles, picked on those weaknesses. It wasn't that the Buccaneers A players lost the game. It was the Buccaneers C players and D players lost the game. And when you fortify your weaknesses, right, then that's where you succeed, right? What Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were great in 2019. Go back and look at the stats with Jameis Winston throwing the ball. But it wasn't just replacing Jameis with Brady. It was replacing Brashard Perriman with Antonio Brown.
Right, exactly.
It was replacing, whoever it was upgrading Cam Brate to Rob Gronkowski. Those are the little subtle adjustments that are there, because great teams can take away other great teams, great players.
Right. Yeah.
And then it's
the third line in hockey.
The third line in hockey. Look, last night as well as Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray played, getting 15 points in the second half from Christian Brown, the rookie from KU. I mean, he was the X factor in that game.
Breaks down the NBA Finals now for us too. Good God, bro!
Go Nuggets, man! Yeah, I'm all about it.
Triple now.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Thanks so much. We got Casey Hudson waiting on deck, so we'll
awesome. Love Casey.
Thank you, Scotty, and you guys know where to get everything on Pewter Report. They're the best.
Pewter Report, PewterReport.com, Pewter Report TV on YouTube. There we go.
Thanks, buddy. You're the best. I'll look forward to that column too. That'll be fun. All right. Thanks, Scott Reynolds of the Pewter Report. We got to take a quick break, and then Casey Hudson will join us. We'll pay our bills here with our fine sponsors. Casey will be back to talk some. She'll want to talk some Bucs, I know, but also we'll talk some NHL Stanley Cup Finals without our Lightning, but still somewhat interesting, and we'll talk some Lightning as well. So lots coming up with Casey Hudson. Stay with us. This is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation. Home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com.
Let's go right now. Back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Brought to you by the great folks at Extravaganza Productions Incorporated. Great folks over there. I work with them during our Pro Padel. So you got my PPL hat on. Extravaganza Production out there. So if you have any meetings, charity events, or anything that you need a great production company to help you out, they are the ones to go to. It's extravaganzaproductions.com. All right, let's bring in our good friend Casey Hudson, who is now doing some national work for the NHL on a really cool website. I know you're doing this on the Believe Network. Tell me a little bit about your new gig here, Casey. What's going on?
Got a new show called, I know it's been so long.
Yes.
Hope you guys have been good. It's called Casing the League. And like you said, it's now NHL as a whole versus just the Lightning, but the Lightning is still my focus. Because with that, now it's more betting focus. So I'll do best bets for every game throughout Stanley Cup Finals. Kind of top headlines for each and every one of the teams, like trade conversations. We've got so many coaching shuffles taking place, at least throughout the Northeast right now. So yeah, it's just kind of expanding and learning that much more and getting to geek out about hockey a little further than the Tampa Bay Lightning. But Believe has been amazing. A lot of great connections and networking there, and a lot of great feedback so that I can continue to just grow this craft.
That's awesome.
I was gonna say I was at the new Melting Pot social place downtown last weekend, and I turned around at the bar and I saw your face next to the two other guys who I can't remember what their names were, but y'all were right there on TV. So I guess y'all broadcast on a station as well, and it was on at the bar there.
Yeah, Stadium TV. So I've got to, because of Believe, I've got connected with a few other people to kind of hop on and talk, hockey and Stanley Cup. But Cam Rogers and Brandon Lang is who I worked with for Believe Me. It runs on Stadium TV, but now Believe just signed a contract with Fubo TV. So they're going to start pulling over certain shows to run on Fubo. But like Samsung Plus, how you have like the free streaming on there, Believe has like 2 or 3 channels with all the free streamings. So that's really cool.
Good job. Great stuff. Well,
thanks, guys.
Well, that's why we had you on. So we recognized your incredible talent, and we wanted to get you back on, but you've been so busy. All right, so let's get down to business here. I want to talk a little Lightning first because, there's some things that are going to happen in this off season. We were talking with Corey Long the other day, who covers the Lightning for NHL, and he dropped a couple nuggets. He said Taylor Janot, they're going to re-sign him. Killorn's not coming back. And who was the guy they said they were going to trade?
He mentioned Ross Colton.
He thought they might trade Ross Colton. What are your thoughts? I think he's pretty spot on with all that stuff. What do you think?
I know Corey just has that like dog whispering ear where he catches the things ahead of time. I'll give him credit for that. Ross Colton, I believe I was already hearing rumblings about in terms of the trade market because they can also come up with a nice deal to send him back home to the New Jersey area. So Ross doesn't surprise me. I think he'll be missed in many ways. I think that his production level probably didn't increase as much as the Lightning were hoping that it was. Yeah. And then the Killorn part is just hard because there's no cap space, and obviously he deserves a huge payout. I kind of defended this differently a couple months ago because he is a smart guy. I think that he's not the kind of player that's just been frivolous with his money and stuff. He went to Harvard. I'm sure he's making the right investments, but it is an opportunity for him to get a different kind of payout to retire properly. I was hearing a little differently, though, that there may have been decent restructures in order for Alex Killorn to maybe stick around and just giving him that long deal where the payout just, builds over time so that he can get what he deserves and stay in a Lightning jersey. So that one I'm not so definitive of just yet. And then Tanner Janot, I think that he was getting too much criticism because people were expecting him to come in and turn into a 24-goal guy right away. Right. But they're not realizing that even though Coach Cooper says 10 games to get acclimated, it's still completely different. And after you see what Brandon Hagel did over time, I would never question a player coming in and not making an immediate difference. So I love the physicality that Janot brings, but also I like his two-way style of play. And I think with this slight realignment that the Lightning have to start building out, that Tanner Janot is a perfect puzzle piece for that. So, and to think of the injury that he played through and still made an impactful difference. Like that just tells you the kind of grit that you have on a guy who's going to play, I think, decent longevity hockey for this team.
Casey, when you look at, let's presume Vegas is going to win the Cup because with their goal differential that they've put forth in the first couple of games, if you look historically, like 6 other teams have had that or better or slightly better, and they've all gone on to win the Cup. It shows a sign of dominance over the Panthers that is pretty evident, but anything can happen. That said, what do you see in Vegas that the Lightning can steal from? What are they doing well that maybe the Lightning need to pick up their game and do better?
Well, they're playing very well in all 3 zones, but more specifically their D zone. Their defense wasn't talked about enough heading into this series matchup. And I know we saw some great things out of the Florida Panthers, or I should say surprising things. I think the element of surprise that the Florida Panthers delivered kind of started to nullify how well Vegas was actually playing. I was looking into this, kind of comparing both series or both conferences, and Vegas has faced more offensively high-powered teams than Florida has. Right. So the Hurricanes were a big conversation, but it's because they had one of the best defenses in the NHL. Their injury-ridden roster didn't help them produce offensively that consistently and that strong. So to think of what the Vegas Golden Knights have weathered in terms of shots on goal on top of goals for is completely different than the Florida Panthers. They have bigger defensemen. They're playing great hockey in front of their goaltender. They're not relying on Aiden Hill to bail them out of a lot of situations, even though he's standing on his head between the pipes and coming up huge with some big saves. That's not what it comes down to with every game. And they can still respond offensively to counteract what their defense is doing. The Florida Panthers have been bailed out of a number of situations because of Grabowski, and their defensemen are playing 20-plus minutes, so the time on ice alone has helped keep them in games, but they haven't responded offensively the way that Vegas has, and I think that was underestimated heading into this matchup.
And when you look at Florida, I mean, they're not the first kind of 8 seed or lower seeded team to go on a run like this. We've seen this before. The Kings are a great example. Even the Lightning's first cup, Calgary got all the way there, and they were a 7 seed that year, I believe. But to be on that magic run they were on and all the momentum they were carrying, and then they had to sit around and they had to wait for a pretty good margin there. Do you think that may come into this a little bit, that sometimes that steam you can get lost a little bit when you have this time off and they get back into the series, and especially the game plan that Vegas has had against Matthew Tkachuk, who I just think he's been taken out of this series, quite frankly. What's been your take on that?
Oh, absolutely. See, initially, I didn't think that the rest was going to hurt the Panthers. But then when I think about it and when I compare it to the Tampa Bay Lightning, sometimes teams thrive under that consistent pressure. I mean, the first thing that was taken away from them was their success on the road. They were on an 8 consecutive win streak on the road and then bailed out of that. And that was going to give them an edge being in Vegas. So I think that they were thriving under the consistent pressure of having to play and produce. And yes, their ability to take away Matthew Tkachuk. It's great to have a guy who's a muscle on the ice. And I think that Tkachuk is looked at more physically than for what he can actually do with his puck management. We started to see that balance out a little bit more. But what they started to do was figure out ways to mentally take Tkachuk out of the game, because he's making so many mistakes to where he's either in the penalty box or heading down the tunnel. So on top of isolating him in play, they're also getting him to beat himself and not be able to stay on the ice to contribute to help his team. He went from one of the most productive lines to kind of handing that crown over to the Duclair, Barkov, and Lundell line. So they also don't have 4 functional lines. They rely on their top 6 a lot, where Vegas has 4 spectacular lines they can produce and come up strong at any moment. And they also have 9 different scorers over on that roster versus the Florida Panthers. So I think the rest did hurt them a little bit. I thought that they were going to come in and kind of use the same problem-solving methods. Matthew Tkachuk pisses somebody off and then kind of helps turn the puck over. But you got a guy like Barbashev who's equally as strong as a two-way player. He can be physical. We saw what he did for the Blues. He's got 59 hits right now, so he's even topping Tkachuk in that line. And we saw him take Gudas out of the game the other night. So I think they also underestimated some of the muscle that they have if they wanted to play that physical mental battle.
So Gudas is back tonight, I think. Or he's coming back for game 3. I think I saw that. And how does that hit on Eichel? Sometimes big hits like that can change a series, but I think the way Eichel handled it kind of, I don't know. He kind of neutralized what kind of effect that it was. Of course, Vegas going on to crush him doesn't hurt, but sometimes those things can be series changers, but it doesn't appear that way with that hit. What do you think?
Yeah, thankfully, because we know that Eichel had, hand surgery or had that big surgery. And of course, protecting your body and not getting hit in those areas is I think that's what made it scarier, because of where he just recovered and then where the hit took place. But I will say it was a clean hit because he was falling. And I think about when I get emotional in football, and you've heard me rant about this on you guys' show before, like if a guy's in motion, they can't do anything. Tkachuk was already in motion. Right. It's not like he picked up pace and went to target him as he was falling, and Eichel was falling. So it is something that can also be a momentum swing, because then in that moment where some people who just, are emotionally attached to their team are like, that was such a shit hit and da-da-da, like they get so wound up in it, where it was a clean hit. And I think it just kind of takes the attention away from hockey itself, and the guys can kind of get caught up in that too. But I loved Eichel's response after. It's hockey. On the top of it, it's Stanley Cup final hockey. I mean, it's got to get that much more pressured on top of it.
And by the way, when you speak to Vegas, I mean, the success they've had, obviously, through their first 6 years. And I kind of bring the Lightning into the equation a little bit, because those have been the 2 most successful teams during the last 6 years in the NHL, and it really hasn't been close. And we know what the Lightning do. They get very aggressive when they make deals, right? And we know the whole history. Like, they don't have many first-round picks from the last decade that are, playing on this team. Vegas, I don't even think they have 1 draft pick on their team that they drafted and developed. They've been aggressive. Jack Eichel, Mark Stone, Pietrangelo, and some of those other guys. Is that just kind of an example, like the league is going this way, where I don't want to say F the draft picks, but F the draft picks, right?
Yeah.
Well, kind of, because think about the developmental stage. And I think it's also changing now how long it takes for a guy to get acclimated into a system or how much he's going to make a difference. So when you can get those veteran presence just to kind of plug and play, depends on where your puzzle piece is at. But I think a lot of teams are just kind of on that cuff of where they need enough veteran experience and guys who can help cross them over the line. I mean, also look at how many guys are from the Blues Stanley Cup team on Vegas Golden Knights, number one, and they have 7 different guys who have won the Stanley Cup on their roster as well. So I always compliment the Lightning, and especially this past season, because they have so many different leaders and leadership styles. I've always loved the fact that at any moment they can turn to any of 6, 7, 8, 9 guys with different leadership styles to pull on and get them through big games and big moments. And I think that that's something very similar and parallel to the Vegas Golden Knights roster. So many different leadership styles, so many different leaders, and they can touch on any one of them at any moment to just kind of help inspire and move them along. And then, of course, just to build off of that, Jonathan Marchessault is the headline of this series. And he's, I think of him in a Tampa Bay Lightning jersey. I think of what he developed at the Syracuse Crunch, his numbers in the AHL for one, his call up, and how well he did when he got the tap on the shoulder. Then, yeah, he went to the Florida Panthers, but his time there was brief. The development didn't happen with the Panthers. It happened with the Lightning. And now he's finding that success and that momentum in his career. Very well deserved. I've loved Marchie since he was in the AHL.
Great stuff, Casey. Before you go, though, I've had a bad run in gambling. It's been bad. I mean, I bet on Shane McClanahan and the Rays to be up by a run in Chicago last week because I was going to the game and I wanted, pay for my tickets. I like
you
doing
were
that, right? Yeah, it was fun. So it was there with my son. I'm like, all right, I'm going to bet. This is an easy bet. The Rays were shut out the night before. The Cubs had some scrub on the mound. McClanahan, all they got to do is be up 1 run or one run at the 5th inning. It's a freaking layup. Well, of course, what happens? The Rays bats go silent. Shane loses his first game of the year because I bet on him. I mean, it's a disaster. So I'm just going to start relying on smart people to tell me who to bet. So give me some bets.
Give me some bets.
So I can get back to even, for God's sakes.
When I finally decided to even look at some baseball betting is when they were playing the Cubs. And it was like the predictions heading into that, it was like a shoo-in for certain things, runs, all this stuff. Yeah. They were topping them by runs by almost like 2+. And then I saw game 1 happen. And I was like, no, I'm not touching this. But hockey, I got you. And as for some of my best bets for tonight, I got Anthony Duclair over half a point at a +110. Because like I said, Duclair's line's been the most reliable line so far, the highest productive line, 5 high danger chances in game 2, 7 scoring chances. And between Lundell and Duclair, they're the only 2 getting anything done. I don't know where Verhaeghe's been this series. He would have been a larger conversation beforehand. Riley Smith, he has the 2nd highest producing line for the Vegas Golden Knights, but also if they do start isolating Jonathan Marchessault or Barkov or Eichel, it's William Karlsson. I hate this guy's name. Amadio, I think.
Yeah, you got it right.
Something like that. Him and Smith that come in so hot, and then you just see that William Karlsson does so well at producing rushes. So I've got Riley Smith for over half a point at a +100. Love the value. Just half a point is easy for these guys to land. Marchessault anytime goal because why fix what isn't broken?
Right.
Montour I have for an anytime goal tonight because he's been one of the ultimate responders when Matthew Tkachuk gets silenced. It's Montour who continues to pace his team for shots on goal, and he landed 2 goals on the Boston Bruins when they needed to start swinging the series in their favor. So those are my 4 top best bets tonight. And highest scoring period, 2nd period at a +300 because both teams have most goals in the 2nd period.
Highest scoring period, 2nd period, +300.
Yep.
I like that. There's value there. All right, cool stuff, Casey. Where can we find you? So the Believe Network, right? Just go to your Twitter, and you can find everything there.
Everything is there at the Sports Case, KASE. My show is Casing the League with a K on Believe Network, and as JP just said, you can find everything over on Twitter. It's all the same.
Great stuff, Casey. Thanks so much. Appreciate you, and we'll see you soon.
You guys.
Thanks.
Yes.
Congratulations on the show. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Did you write all that down? Did you get that?
I got it in my head, but I know if I forget, you've got it all written down.
Yeah, I'm going to the website right after the show. That way I can just blame Casey instead of my stupid betting.
You are bad at this. You are really, really bad at this.
It's just it's so weird. Like when I'm doing picks, and and I'm not betting my money, I crush it. But when I start laying the money down, I mean, I've had good years. Don't get me wrong, but this last year has been not my best. Not my best. And it goes in cycles. It goes, you get hot, but I mean, there are just certain things like you look at and you go, oh my God, that's a layup. Never. It's gambling. That's why.
First of all, I would never bet on baseball. I would keep baseball in the dark.
That's one of the, I don't know if I've ever bet on baseball.
I don't really consider baseball one of the big hub sports to bet on. Like the NFL's easy. You could bet on that. But I think the NBA is almost like the second behind that, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to betting. I feel like MLB is so difficult.
Basketball, I don't like betting because the point spreads are just so, things that happen at the end of games, bad beats, because nobody cares. Hopefully nobody cares.
I wonder what last night was the bet for Jokic to go 30, 20, and 10.
Well,
I wonder what that would have been.
The Nuggets were 2.5-point favorites last night. So they covered easily.
Well, I would have taken that in a heartbeat.
You know what? I even said on the show, I'm going to bet on the Nuggets, and then I got busy and forgot to bet on the Nuggets. And, of course, they won. Had I bet on the Nuggets, then they would have lost. That's just the way this works.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking about Game 4. I like the Nuggets again. I'll see what the spread is, but but that's typically a game where Miami's going to come back. They're going to play with great energy.
Are they?
I mean, from the beginning, I was, I like the Nuggets in 5 from the very beginning. I still will say the Nuggets in 5. But anyway, let's take a break and we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about that series. I got to get to a couple other big stories. The Cincinnati Reds are a really cool story. Watching their highlights last night, that place was going bonkers. They've got a couple of young players that are just unbelievable. And a larger discussion coming up here. Like, when is baseball going to get it about these younger players, these younger, cheaper players? Like, the union has to do something about these salaries. My God, it's ridiculous. So we'll hit all that when we come back. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. Father's Day is coming up. We like shiny things, too. I need a new watch. Go to the Gold and Diamond Source. They've got great new Rolexes, used Rolexes, all kinds of great stuff you will find there for your dads at the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Back in 3. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation. Home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue. That's my carrier. Love them. Paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244. Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa. And for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock.
This is FanStream Sports with JP.
Kaylee Mudge, FSU's left fielder, keeping the game somewhat in reach, but eventually they would fall 5-0 to Oklahoma, who wins their 52nd consecutive game, going back to last year. And they beat Florida State a couple of years ago in the national finals. They will go for the sweep tonight. Oklahoma will. That's tonight, right?
That's tonight. Hopefully Sandra Cock is back on the mound.
Yep.
Did not appear yesterday in the game.
Which was interesting.
Well, I can't even remember her name right now. I'm drawing a blank. The head coach.
Almani, Lonnie.
Yeah, you shoot
her. Sorry,
her. I knew that she was gonna. You knew she was gonna be asked about it after the game, and she kind of said what I was thinking. Like, FSU didn't have a lead in the game, so she didn't want to waste pitches from her best arm in a game where the offense, I think they had resigned, that they were just were not going to score.
The game,
That's fair, because Oklahoma trotted out their ace,
right,
Jordy Ball, who was fantastic.
Untouchable.
Fantastic.
Of course, when the ump is giving you strikes like you just showed me.
Egregious. Absolutely egregious all night, the ump.
And it was tilted one side?
For the most part. FSU got a break at some point in the game on a check swing that was very clear that the girl did not go, and they called her out on strikes, and it wasn't close. But all around, the umpiring did not have a good night last night.
It's Oklahoma's just a juggernaut, and they're kind of, I don't want to say they're playing at home, but it's in Oklahoma City. A lot of Noel fans there, but look, they're a really good team. FSU's I don't know how they're gonna win this.
I don't think they can.
It's tough. So
I don't think anybody can right now.
Yeah, they're just really, really good. But I'll be watching tonight as FSU will. Like, Sandercock's going to start tonight, I would hope.
I would assume.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't have any other options, I don't think.
You got to put your best pitcher out there. Just pitch the perfect game. I think I would put her out there in an elimination game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kaylee Mudge has been just absolutely phenomenal for the Noles for a couple of years now. So we'll see if they can win it. And the Gators are going to play in the Super Regionals against South Carolina, I believe, in Gainesville. And a pitcher from Eastlake, Slater, saw their nice article in the Times today about him His dad is the head trainer at the Buccaneers. So good luck to the Gators as they hopefully can get back to the College World Series and to the Knowles tonight. All right, we mentioned a little bit about the NBA game last night. Jamal Murray and Jokic were absolutely phenomenal in their two-man game. I think the Heat shot, 29% again from three-point land after having that anomaly, 49% shooting in game two. As we said, the Nuggets are just the better team. I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of it last night because I was hosting the Tampa Sports Club banquet last night, which I'm going to get to here in a second. But your impressions of, and I saw a lot of the coverage this morning, and it seems like Denver picked up their defense as well. They contested the 3-pointers to a 60% level, and that made a difference in terms of the Heat shooting, obviously.
I thought it was very simple last night. The Nuggets had much more intensity to bring to the table than the Heat did, especially in the second half, because it was kind of close. I think it was like 53-48 going into the half, and the Heat had some runs where they were up and they were kind of going back and forth. But the second half, the Nuggets completely took over, and this whole kind of thing that they've been talking about, just making Jokic a scorer, make him a scorer and stop the other guys and you'll win. Well, not only did he do his thing last night, but Jamal Murray goes and matches him. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Two guys go for a stat line like that in the same game, let alone in an NBA Finals. I thought that's right there. It's that simple. That was the story of the game. Miami couldn't make their 3-point shots. And that's the problem that I have with the Heat. I really want them to be able to pull this out. I really do. But they just have a lot of guys who, on a night-to-night basis, I just don't know if the shots are going to fall.
Right.
And I just think kind of how Boston kind of ran that same offense against them in that series and went cold for 4 of the 7 games. I think that's where Miami's at right now. You just can't play offense like that, I don't think. And I think Jimmy, he was good last night, but I don't think Jimmy Butler has been as effective as he was in the first 2 rounds plus right now. So, and there's no guarding Nikola Jokic. He's the best player in this series. It's really not close, and Miami has no answer.
They have no
Anything
answer.
he wants to do, he's going to do.
Yeah, I want to bet on the Nuggets again for Game 4, but
let's see if Tyler Herro comes back in this game.
Yeah, is he expected? They talked about him coming back in Game 3. He's taking contact in practice now. Obviously, he could be a huge lift to the Miami Heat. Especially with his 3-point shooting.
Yeah, but we've seen this stuff before happen in finals. You bring somebody in that hasn't been around in a long time. It can almost
it's tough to get up to speed.
It's tough to get up to speed, and it can almost mess up kind of the system that they've already been implementing and running in an NBA Finals. Is that too big of a risk? I wouldn't give Tyler Herro 30 minutes right away.
No.
I think at best you're lucky to get 15-minute cameos out of him a night.
Yeah.
And hope that he can knock down some shots. But again, he's in that same tier though. He's another guy who is really reliant on hitting his 3-point shots to be as effective.
Right. All right. Some other Rays news. They lose another arm. Calvin Fauché is going on the injured list. They just brought back, who was it, Armstrong, who looks great. But now
Yanni Chirinos.
Chirinos is brought up today to start the game today with 12:30 start against the Twins. And that leaves Glass now to start tomorrow night against the Rangers in what was a highly anticipated series. And because, I'm sure the nation wants to see this, and it'll be on Sunday Night Baseball. Oh, no.
Don't even get me started on
Guess who's on Sunday Night Baseball?
Yankees and the Red Sox.
Oh, the Yankees and the Red Sox. Shocking.
Oh, and by the way, next Sunday night.
And the Sox suck.
Next Sunday night, by the
and
way.
No Aaron Judge either.
Yeah. Next Sunday night, it's also the Yankees and the Red Sox.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the week after that, guess what it is?
Dodgers.
The Cubs and the Cardinals.
The
2 last place teams in the NL Central.
Yeah, but it's the Cubs and the Cardinals.
Oh, my goodness. Heritage, just baseball. It oozes it. Midwest.
Oh. Come on, baseball, let's get with it. Do you see what was going on in Cincinnati last night?
It's a party.
It's a party. These young kids, Ellie De La Cruz, did I say that right?
You got it.
He hit a home run last night that is still going. At 56 feet, 115 exit velocity. And then they walk it off with Wes Benson. And before the game, Joe Burrow's out there hitting home runs. By the way, did you see jacked?
Oh, yeah. He definitely has put on some muscle this year.
His whole face, his whole frame. I'm like, who's that dude? Wow.
Can I play this Ellie De La Cruz home run real quick?
Yes, please do.
Because the call on this, by the way, is fantastic.
Anticipation to see what.
Oh, goodness! That ball had a family! In game 2, his first home run!
What's funny about that, the ball had a family and then just silence. So you just need to drop the mic after that one. But what's so funny about this is he hit this ball literally to the last row where there are seats in this stadium. And if you've seen Great American Ballpark, I don't. It has to be like the most seats I think there is in a stadium in like an outfield. Like it goes up a lot, and it lands next to 4 kids who are like in high school.
Yeah.
Right, and they're like, "Oh, jacked up, we got the ball," and it was so funny. It looked like interrogation. Then in like later in the innings, you had all these Reds people go all the way up there, and they're sitting there, and they're all having a discussion about how they can get the ball back. And if I'm the high schoolers, I mean, I'm holding out for a Super Kings ransom.
Oh, my God, yes.
So I don't even know if they gave the ball back or what happened there, but lucky right there. They probably paid, what, like $10 for that ticket, if that?
If that.
And then they probably walk out with thousands, I would assume.
Oh, my. It's so – I mean, think about that. Like, what's the negotiation there? A bunch of grown-ups, like with a bunch of high school kids, and are they texting like let me call my dad, let me see what he says.
I hope they were mature enough to negotiate a good deal is my concern.
I hope so, too. And if they got a bad deal, shame on those grown-ups. Shame on those grown-ups. Have we seen any reporting on this yet?
I haven't, no. I'm gonna do some research on that.
Like, what in the name of Marge Shot are those guys doing? Like, you better give them season tickets, right? I want season tickets for all 4 of us. Were there 4 guys?
Yeah, or 4 kids.
I need season tickets, even in the outfield, for all 4 of us for this year and next year. All right? I need 4 signed bats by Ellie De La Cruz. I need 4 signed bats. I need 4 signed baseballs. What else do I need? I need a lot.
I'm watching the video of the whole thing, and the kid that has the ball.
Oh, you got to retweet
the
that.
kid that has the ball, he literally crosses his arms and is just standing there like that, and he's got the ball in his pocket and he's chewing gum. He's got the whole entire look like, you want this freaking ball? What are you gonna give me, huh?
It's like they look like the Sandlot guys.
Literally.
It's like you want the. Oh my God, that is so funny. That's so funny. And what's his name? Benson, who hit the walk-off.
Will Benson hits the walk-off.
Well, Will Benson hits the walk-off. That was a bomb, too. We got the call on that one?
I'll try to get that one for you real quick.
Yeah,
but you talked about, like, the
courtesy
energy.
MLB Network, by the way. Thanks, guys.
You talked about the energy there. Like, I think for the game prior, they announced his call-up in the morning on Tuesday.
Right.
They sold 6,000 additional tickets for that game after they called him up. And they had, like, way more attendance that game, obviously, than most of their games.
Yeah.
The impact. But here was
Nick, you go. Oh, hold on. Let's do the call on the Will Benson.
Swoop to right!
Listen to that.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner!
He pimped that
sound
thing, too.
off of that, man.
Holy moly. Off both of those. Golly. And so here go the Reds with both of these kids. They're going to have them under control for like 4 years at minimum salary.
Oh, and by the way,
these young players are coming up. They're ready to play. The Major League Baseball has to do something about this salary structure.
I was going to say one of your other youngsters, Spencer Steer, just won NL Rookie of the Month. By the way,
I mean, the Reds are on a roll.
They're fun to watch.
They are fun to watch. That was my team growing up.
And
The Big Red Machine,
two walk-offs in a row against the Dodgers.
Yeah, you remember? Well, you won't remember this, but the Reds and the Dodgers.
Yeah, in the
were
70s,
in the NL
it was
West.
huge.
Yeah, it was a huge rivalry. They were rivals in the NL West. It was, who was it? It was the Reds, the Dodgers. Oh God, I can't believe I don't remember it. Was it the Braves?
I can't help you. I cannot help you here, partner.
I have to look that up. I'm going to look that. New Nick, you got some an update on that?
So, like, literally a minute ago, CBS just posted confirming that he did get the ball back. And, well, it doesn't look like they got season tickets. All it says is that it looks like they went down to the clubhouse, like all the guys, and just got, like, a signed bat and a signed ball and a picture with Cruz.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's incredibly lame.
No, it sounds like the guy just, like, they're literally calling the kid who gave it generous, and he got a whole local news story about it.
What?
Generous.
You grown-up should be should be ashamed
This
of
is
yourselves.
this is on par
You
with.
should be ashamed of yourselves.
This is on par
What
with.
would you have asked for? Like, I know you said season tickets, but like specifically, if it was you, what? Everything. Give me the list. What are you asking for?
Season tickets and $5,000.
I do need some cash.
I want
I do need
$5,000.
some cash because that ball, if you auctioned off that ball, what would it be worth? Not, I mean,
Especially given what he is probably going to become.
his first home run, that ball's going to be worth, I mean, depending on what he becomes.
Yeah.
But even right now, I'd say it's at least $100,000 to a collector. I could be way off base, but I think it's at least $100,000.
Eventually, yeah.
No, yeah. Eventually, it could be worth millions.
This is almost as bad, if not worse, than what was it in 2021?
Signed bats.
What was it, Mike Evans? Remember the whole Mike Evans thing?
Yeah.
The 600th touchdown from Tom Brady, and he threw it into the crowd, and that guy should have, held out. What did he get? A percentage in FTX or whatever it was. Remember that?
He got some signed merchandise, which, like, I mean, you wouldn't ask for that as part of your thing. Like, I'm not saying don't ask for the tickets and money, but, like, you wouldn't have asked for at least for an autograph. I would have.
But I can buy that online. I can buy a bat somebody signed on Fanatics right now.
But you can get it for free.
I'll get it in a
You can
year
get paid
because
to get it.
Fanatics
Yeah,
sucks.
but they can't get this thing I got in my hand for free. I mean, it's one of a kind. It's one of one. It's one of one. It has value, has real value. It's not an NFT. It's real value.
I wonder how that guy feels
Here's the
now.
question is like, what would De La Cruz pay for it?
He doesn't have much money to give the guy.
Not right now.
Not gonna
he
lie.
doesn't. Not right now. He doesn't. But he's gonna. In 5 years, what would he pay for
Give
it?
me 1% of your future contract.
Right. I mean, what they did to those boys is criminal. They need
Took
to,
advantage of him.
And I hate this all. Well, he earned it. He didn't. I don't get. Is Aaron Judge earning $40 million? No. I mean, it's like it's 40. These guys have more money. I know he doesn't have the money now, but they've got so much money. Pay. You pay money. Pay the money. Cincinnati, if you want it.
I think the reason they're calling him generous is, like, remember, like, a few years ago when A-Rod hit his 3,000 hit and that fan caught it and then he, like, refused to give it back to him for a while?
Good.
And he just like.
You want it?
Well, what was the
like A-Rod? How much money has that dude made?
Remember what was
pay me?
Hold
you
on.
want the ball? Pay me.
Hold on. I gotta look this up real quick. The fan that
By
caught.
the way, the NL West division, the Reds,
caught A-Rod's ball?
Dodgers, Giants, Astros, Braves, and Padres. Back in the day, the NL West.
Interesting.
In the 70s.
I had to look this up real quick. There was that dude. Remember he caught Aaron Judge's 62nd home run ball.
Yeah.
I gotta feel. What did he get from that? Because he held out for a ransom on that. I believe he asked for $1 million at first. I forgot what he ended up getting out of that.
Good. This is a.
This guy was a lot more smarter.
Yeah.
What did he get?
I
from
just
that?
can't. This whole malarkey about it's special. You didn't do anything to get it. Well, these guys got money
F
to
you,
burn.
I was standing in the right spot.
These guys got money to burn. You want it? Pay for it. It's as simple as that. You wanted Tom Brady. You wanted Mike Evans. Pay for it.
Okay, what did he? Okay, hold on. What did he do here?
Man, the things I would ask for, I can only imagine.
What would you ask for?
Well, unlike you, I actually would ask for at least for a signed ball, but then I don't know. I'd probably ask for season tickets, maybe some cash. I don't know. Like, I understand. Like, it's kind of like, you ever seen like that show Pawn Stars, where like it's got to be like that ending where they're like, okay, this is what I have. What are you willing to offer me? And it's probably doing that back and forth.
Right. It's
so
a negotiation.
I'd say as much as I could get out of it. I don't know. I always just think about that because like when Taylor Walls first got called up, I was like maybe like a section away from catching his first home run, and I'm like, man, what I could have caught if I caught that.
Well, I don't know if it's Taylor Walls is
maybe not the money, but I still
this
could have
guy's
gotten
category. I would start at $100 grand.
something.
I'd start at $100 grand, a signed bat, a signed ball, and actually you can keep all the signed stuff. Just give me the money. I'm good. Just give me the money.
I'm a big autograph guy, so I would have liked to gotten an autograph, but that's just me.
I'm not an autograph guy at all.
So this Corey Yeomans.
That's because you know most of these guys, so it's like, what's the point?
This guy that caught the Judge ball.
Right.
It looks like he sold it to a to Golden Auctions for $1.5 million.
There you go.
Who then flipped it
there you go.
for $3 million.
There you go.
Well,
So
like
he actually lost $1.5 million on that transaction, but he still got $1.5 million.
Well, like, the most iconic one is how much did that guy make when he stole Mark McGuire's record-setting home run ball? Like he
$3
refused
million.
to give it back. Like he made
$3 million, which is the $3.05 million, the most expensive ball ever.
Yeah. So if this kid becomes, rookie of the year or whatever, that ball's going to be worth at least $100,000. At least $100,000. I'm starting at $100,000. Cash money.
Yeah.
That's.
I mean, that's the kind of ball that like the Hall of Fame might want to have one day. So like, yeah, that could be worth a lot of money.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's a cash deal. All right, we need one more break.
Yep.
Let's grab one more break, and then we will come back and finish things up. The effect of Messi going to Miami. Wait till you hear these numbers, folks. This is insane. And we talked about Dalvin Cook, but where's he going to end up? That and a couple other nuggets when we come back. Stay with us. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. Ladies and gentlemen, are you looking to lose weight or just lean up for bathing suit season where there are so many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there? You don't know where to start, right? We'll start at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and will help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently. Many of these other approaches are designed for the masses. So how's that going to work for you specifically? It's not. Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you so the weight comes off safely without the use of harmful drugs and side effects. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. Our thanks to Italiano Insurance, the Golden Diamond Source, Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Extravaganza Productions, and American Mortgage Services. Scott Fitzgerald. If you're thinking about buying a home or refinancing, or I know you're saying, oh, the rates are ridiculous, so wait till they come down. They ain't coming down, folks, anytime soon. So They probably hover around this. So if you need to make a purchase, you gotta kind of skin that cat in a different way. And Scott Fitzgerald has some great creative programs for you. He'll look at your entire financial picture, and he may be able to save you money in other places that'll make up for the money that you'll have to spend in extra interest. So a lot of different ways to do it, and you don't know all the ins and outs like he does. He's an expert in the field, been doing this for 30 years, did 3 of my mortgages. Just have a conversation with him. Find out what your numbers are. You can probably a lot of things going on that you don't know about. So just email him, scott@amstampa.com, scott@amstampa.com. He'll get right back to you, and you'll have a conversation, and maybe you can get that new home that you want to get right now. Prices are coming down. So, if you're thinking about it, find out all the information you need to find out. We got a couple comments coming in on the kids who gave up the ball for freaking nothing. RJ Martin says, full list is meet and greet, signed baseballs for him and his friends, signed pictures for him and his friends, signed bat and signed hat. Oh, that's what he got. Screw all the signed stuff. Screw that. I want cash money.
I don't think I've ever gone up to an athlete and asked for a signing. I just don't care.
No.
I actually really don't care.
No. I mean, I'll get a picture, but even pictures for me, I'd rather just be candid pictures of me doing the interview with them. I think pictures are better than autographs because, you could go back to what is an autograph? An autograph symbolizes that you met that person. That's what the value of an autograph is, which is why I don't understand why people buy autographs. Like buying an autograph is
what emotional connection do you have to
none.
an autograph?
You didn't get the autograph. The whole idea of getting an autograph is that you were in their presence and you met them, and your proof is they signed something. Like, and I walked by the mall, Palm Beach Autographs. There's a whole store of stuff you can buy it's meaningless. It's freaking meaningless.
People will pay thousands.
You didn't meet the person. You just bought it.
See, I don't even care about the picture thing. Like, as long as I have the memory in my head, that's all I care about.
Right.
If you get the picture, it's just to put on social media.
Right. No, you can frame it and put it in your house. Put it up on your wall of fame. Yeah, that's a cool thing.
Then I got a picture of me in my house like that.
Yeah, but with, Tiger Woods. That's a cool thing. Oh, dude, you met Tiger Woods? Yeah. Yeah, we played golf together one day. It's a conversation starter. Yeah, pictures are cool. Back in the day, we took pictures before social media. It's true.
Yeah.
We did that. Then we put them up in our house, and we showed them to our friends and all kinds of cool stuff. Richie P says, your Taylor Walls ball is getting you a hot dog with no condiments. That's disrespectful to Taylor Walls. That's disrespectful. RJ Martin, I always try and ask for personalization when getting an autograph. Yeah. Can you put it to RJ? Yeah. Get it personalized. Absolutely.
Oh, my gosh.
Absolutely. 100%. No condiments. Speaking of condiments, did you see the guy that stole the mustard, the big mustard canister from the concession stand?
Unfortunately,
and was sitting in the stands just eating it. And then MLB Network had to go flashback to the guy with the mayonnaise. Like mayonnaise that's been sitting out in a hot summer day on the condiment shelf next to the.
Remember the dude that
he's eating the mayo.
Remember the dude that doused himself in Duke's mayo at the Mayo Bowl? Yes. Hey, remember Will Levis when he was off my draft board when he stuck that big spoon? No, what did he do? He put the mayonnaise in the coffee.
That's what coffee.
Mayonnaise in the coffee. Nothing tops that. He was off my draft board years ago when I saw that clip.
Mayonnaise in the coffee. Like, what is that?
Is it so
I will
hard?
Say this. Have you tried mayonnaise on
No,
grill?
I hate mayonnaise.
You hate mayonnaise. I love mayonnaise, and I love Miracle Whip is great mayonnaise. That's like sweet mayonnaise. It's fantastic. You put it on the bread, and then you put it that side down. Who taught me that? Someone on the show came on and told us that. I forget who it was, and I tried it. It's fantastic. The butter and the mayonnaise and the grilled cheese fried. Oh, holy moly, that's a game changer. You were going to add something? New Nick? Nope, he's off. So, are there any condiments that you would eat plain?
You know what I used to do when I was a kid? This is disgusting to think about it. I love hot sauce. A lot.
What's your go-to?
Tabasco.
Tabasco.
The Holy Grail.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, I loved it so much. I would literally pour, and I wouldn't use Tabasco because it's a little bit, the consistency's different. I would use like Texas Pete. I would pour Tabasco in a bowl and get a spoon.
No, you wouldn't.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my
yeah.
God.
Oh, yeah. when I was a kid, and I would put it in a spoon, and I would.
No wonder your upper colon hates you.
would sip it. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's gross. I will cop to making ketchup sandwiches.
Oh. You know another thing. My family gives me.
I made ketchup. I love ketchup so much. I'm like, just take the burger out of it.
You want to know? You want to know another thing?
Some ketchup.
My grandpa still gives me flack for this. He used to make when I was a little kid. He used to come over and he used to make my lunch for school.
Right.
And he used to ask me what I wanted, and guess what I used to ask for?
The Tabasco sandwich.
No. Bologna with ketchup on it.
Yes.
And they thought I was
bologna with ketchup.
I
yes,
guess
bro.
we're doing this,
yes.
but they thought it was the nastiest thing in the world.
No, how about that? That's what I ate when I was a kid. Bologna. And
I don't know
ketchup.
why, and now I hate bologna and I hate ketchup.
You ever had a fried bologna sandwich?
No, I don't. I don't. I despise bologna. No.
We used to like go out in the tree. We had a tree fort, and then we'd go up and we'd cook in the tree fort. We had an open flame in our wooden tree fort as a kid. Yeah, we did that, and we'd cook bologna. We'd fry up bologna in like a foil pan. We were camping out. We'd camp out for the night and have bologna sandwiches. Yeah, those were the days, baby. Screw Burns. Give me a fried bologna. Give me a fried bologna sandwich in the tree fort, in the tree house, on an open flame. That's what it's all about, kids. You kids today on your iPads and your DoorDash. Screw that. Get you a tree house and some fried bologna. That's a dream come true. All right, I think we've covered it all here today. Big thanks to Casey Hudson, who joined us today. Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report with his report on OTAs. Great conversation with both of them. So if you missed that, go back and check it out on our app, FanStream Sports. Just download the app. You can listen to the show anytime. Also on Apple and Spotify, please subscribe there so you'll get the podcast anytime you want. And then all the episodes are archived there. And as always, the jppetersonshow.com, our website, and fanstreamsports.com as well. It's all there for you. Thanks so much for joining us. We will talk to you tomorrow, and go Rays.